But first, going head-to-head on this, are the head of campaigns for the Popular Conservatives, Andrew Allison, and Just Stop Oil spokesperson Grahame. Andrew, I might as well start with you on this. Look, what do you want the Prime Minister to do then? What is this five-point plan? Talk us through it.
Well, the bit about net zero is scrap the net zero target. You know, the economy can't really cope with all of this. 20,000 people in this year, Patrick, will die of hypothermia. It's a fact. We live in a cold country. People can't afford their heating bills anymore because of the high costs of them. So I really think that we need to think about how much the net zero mission, policy, whatever you want to call it, is actually costing people in this country. Now, just let the market decide. The market will decide. If so many people, and polls tell us that so many people really do want a net zero policy in a few years' time, then the market will decide.
OK, all right, Grahame, I'll throw it over to you. Look, I will put it to you that when Rishi Sunak rode back a bit on some net zero commitments, he had a 47% approval rating, which does appear to be one of the more popular things he's done as Prime Minister. If the Tories did this, they might actually get a few more votes, Grahame. Possibly not a good thing for you at Just Stop Oil.
That's not exactly what the Conservative Environment Network is saying. But look, Personally, I'm not here to be political. The climate crisis affects absolutely everyone. In my view, in fact, the Committee for Climate Change said that we cannot afford not to do net zero. And look, I used to work for Shell. I was a principal scientist at Shell, and I worked up to board level with the company. And the oil industry has signed up to a net zero by 2050. It's a global commitment to do this, and they know that we have to do it.
Right, OK, Andrew, we have to do it for the sake of the planet.
No, I didn't
we don't have
that.
to set arbitrary targets, Patrick. I mean, this is the thing. We can decide that we want to move to a net zero economy, and that's absolutely fine. But the government has just set arbitrary targets that it's going to be 2050, and international organizations have set targets that it's going to be 2050. Whether that's doable or not, of course, is a completely different question. I mean, for example, have you ever tried to charge a car in a motorway service station of late? There's hardly any charging points that you can possibly do that, and yet the government has now pushed back the electric cars and the banning of diesel and petrol cars to 2035. But you can't possibly charge an electric car very easily at a motorway service station. We have to let these things develop, and eventually we will get there.
All right.
I agree with Andrew on one thing, that the 2050 net zero target is completely arbitrary. It was I won't go into the details of how it was arrived at, but it's far too late. We need to be acting much
well, Labour,
quicker.
Can I ask you, Grahame, Labour says it wants to decarbonise UK power by 2030, but I suspect that you still think that's too late, don't you?
We have to go much further than that.
Yeah, well, this is it, isn't it? So, yeah.
The view of Stop Oil is that, and the view of most climate scientists is we have to go much faster than we are.
Do you wonder whether or not, just to say on that,
explain why.
Can I just put this to you, and then I will let you explain why, which is, do you not think that maybe climate scientists have a little bit of skin in the game when it comes to this stuff, Grahame?
No, I think what they do is they look at science. Look, climate collapse, which is where we're heading, will destroy our economy. We'll be fighting a perpetual war. We're going to see everything that we hold dear disappear.
And when exactly is that going to happen, Grahame, just out of interest, just so I can prepare the bunker?
It's already happening now, isn't it? Look out the window. 25% drop in our wheat yields this year is expected. We've had floods for half the year so far. We're seeing wildfires in Canada. We're seeing vast numbers of people displaced in other parts of the world. This is real.
Okay.
So we have to take this more seriously than we are. And that means we have to stop oil and gas and coal. And
All right.
to do it by 2030.
All right. Andrew, final word to you on this. If Rishi Sunak doesn't listen to you, what we appear to have here is another split in the Conservative Party, OK? And that doesn't look particularly good, does it?
I don't think it's another split in the Conservative Party at all. I think it's just common sense Conservative policies. We just need to decide how we're going to achieve these particular aims. I mean, everyone wants a better environment. Everyone wants better air quality, for example, Patrick. People don't want to leave a poorer environment for their children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. We just have to decide how to do this in a very sensible way. And I'm afraid 2050 is unrealistic. And I'm afraid if he really thinks that sort of 2035 or 2040 or whatever is realistic, then I completely disagree.
All right, look, both of you, thank you very much. Obviously, we will discuss this again before the election's out. As head of campaigns at Popular Conservatives, Andrew Allison, Just Stop All spokesperson Grahame Bust there. Thank you. Right, look, who do you agree with? Would scrapping the Tories' 2050 net zero target help Sunak avoid electoral oblivion? Simon on X says, no, it would barely move the needle. Most people don't have any concept of what life under net zero would be like. Daisy says, the trouble is, no one believes a word Sunak says. Look how long he's been promising to stop immigration. Graham says, they're toast, no matter what they do. Grief. So, has the polling changed at all since these commitments? No. Rishi and Keir really